Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. I hope you all enjoyed a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and that we're all looking forward to wonderful things in 2024. Today, I'm taking up more of your questions in a segment of Ask Judy. My question here is from Dwayne Barbick, who asked about different things that I enjoyed in my youth or childhood. Perhaps you had a Stingray bike. I probably had a Stingray when I was really young, and I do remember getting a bike for Christmas one year. I wanted a 10-speed. Initially, I got a 3-speed, and I was very whiny and mopey about it. And so my dad actually returned it and got me a 10-speed, which is what I really wanted because that's what all my friends had. I was in middle school, and I would ride that bike to school. And then asked if I had a Barbie dream house. I never had a Barbie dream house. I did have Barbies, and I never had at that point when I was young, we didn't have all the different kinds of Barbies. We typically had one Barbie that we dressed in different ways. So I had a Barbie. Maybe at some point I had two, but that would have been really extreme. So I had a Barbie, and I had clothes, and my sister and I used to play Barbies a lot, and I played Barbies with my girlfriends, and then at some point in my life, all my Barbies went bye-bye. So I have no more Barbies, but I didn't have a car or a house, or I just, I used other things and played pretend, and those became my Barbies sort of environment. Then a creepy crawler set. No, didn't have that. Too old for a light bright. Don't remember light brights. Did I have an easy bake oven? Nope, no easy bake oven. Or a spirograph. I do think I had a spirograph. I remember those. And I remember Etch-a-Sketches. I remember having those and playing with those. Did I ever do any toy commercials? Nope, no toy commercials. So did I learn to macrame? I did do a little bit of macrame. I did more crocheting and knitting. I remember in the 70s crocheting ponchos. Crocheted ponchos were very, very popular in that time. So I did those, or scarves, just simple things. I never made sweaters or socks or anything complicated like that. Candles. Yes, I remember going through a time when I made my own candles, and I remember using my mom's pots and pans to melt these, pieces of these big slabs of wax. And I don't know, I probably ruined some of my mom's pots, but I did that. And then we'd use things like milk containers or jars or different things to put candles in. Milk containers were great because then you could peel them away after. And then I'd use crayons, different colors of crayons, to create the color of the candle. And sometimes if I wanted to make layers or things, I'd do them in layers. Or I remember adding ice cubes, and then it would create these holes in the candle when the ice cubes melted. So I do remember going through the candle making stage. And then you asked something about, did I ever talk about what my first car was? My first car that I owned was a red Ford Pinto, big time, in probably the mid 70s. So that was my first car. Fun things to look back at. As far as Christmas presents, it was a variety of things that I got when I was young, dolls and clothes and things. But I remember I never wanted to open my own presents because I wanted it to be a surprise on Christmas morning. But I would open my sister's presents. I'd very carefully unwrap them, and then I'd put them back. So I wanted to unwrap something, but I didn't want to lose the surprise of what mine was. So that was one of my little quirks. This question is from Holly Valleja, who said, your families were very supportive of your careers by agreeing to cooperate with contracts that tied up your time for a greater portion of the year. Yeah, they were pretty amazing to support our careers in that way, make it possible for us to get to auditions and to, get to work when we needed to, and for my mom to spend all that time all day on the set, although she did love it. But yeah, it was a lot of, there was certainly a degree of sacrifice on their part to make it happen for us. So greatly appreciated. But for in terms of how much of the year, a lot of it was the school year, so we wouldn't have been going anywhere anyway. But it did take away basically our summer vacations because we worked all through summer. So for families who might like to go away on vacation in the summer, there was that sacrifice. Our family didn't tend to do that, so I don't think I was aware of that being an issue in any way for my mom. Holly also said, wondered if Earl's family ever visited the set and maybe watched a day of filming. Yes, a number of Earl's family did come out. His mother came out a few times. I remember that, Doris being on the set. And I remember Marion Hamner Hawks, who Mary Ellen was based on, that she came out a couple times, and it was really lovely to meet her and spend a bit of time with her. And I think there were some other of the siblings who made it out at some point and enjoyed coming out to visit and watch filming. Then you were saying about activities. I've talked about my horses, and John's obviously a musician, and Kami became a teacher and education administrator, and she was asking, does she have other interests, or do the Walton women ever get together for collaborative projects, just such as a quilting bee? Kami does enjoy different types of crafting, and she makes all these lovely little ornaments and stuff, Walton ornaments at Christmas time. And Mary does canning, amongst other things. So she's, which sounds like an awful lot of work. And at times she's talked about, so-and-so, maybe we'll get together and do some canning. And there might be Leslie Winston. I don't know if Leslie's done some canning with her. Canning's never been something I've learned about or done, so I haven't been involved in the canning. So I wouldn't say that there are group activities that we have particularly done. We've just all had our own sort of individual things. None of the others were particularly sports oriented. Mary, she bikes and has done different sporting things. So, but we never really did things together. You also asked about the musicians on the show and if John got to work with the studio musicians. Yes, he did. He spoke about that in the interview we did, that he got to go into the studio and pre-record stuff and did meet a number of those musicians. And they weren't specifically our own musicians, although they probably used them on our show, other shows, but they would have been studio musicians, type of people that would go in and as professionals record whatever piece of music was put in front of them. So these were full-time people. We didn't have a specific Walton orchestra, it was a smaller whatever was needed in that sense. Then you just asked if I was all set for the holidays. I'm shooting this a few days before Christmas so that we can put it up for you right after Christmas. So yes, I'm basically at this moment, a few days before Christmas, pretty much prepared. I'm not cooking a real Christmas dinner. We're having some friends over Christmas Eve, and I will cook, probably do something simple. I'm not going to do a turkey particularly this year because it'll just be my husband and myself. But did decorate the house outside right around the beginning of December, and then inside early in December, and put up a tree and all of that. So I will soon be looking at figuring out how to take it all down. House always seems so empty after the holidays when everything comes down, but I do love everything being decorated and the festive look of that and the neighborhoods and everything. So haven't really done baking yet, but who knows? There's still time between now and the end of the year to do some holiday baking. So I hope all of you had lovely meals and some good food, and that you've all stayed healthy and celebrated in all the best ways. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing your questions with me. I will be back with more behind the scenes of the Waltons and more Ask Judy. Thanks for watching.